Hello everyone, my name's Tom. Welcome to Tom Talks Football. So I'm going to get straight into this today. So I think Arteta should go at the end of the season. I think he's taken Arsenal as far as he can. And that's not a bad thing. Arteta's done a great job at Arsenal to rebuild them back to challenging. Because after Wenger had left, they were struggling, really struggling, and I think he's done a good job. But one major trophy in 6 years, he should be doing better in the last 2, 3 years. And again, not a bad thing. This isn't a bad thing. I just think he has taken them as far as he possibly can. Now, another loss last night in the Carabao Cup is another trophy. They could have won, now they can't. You've got to start questioning it. Where is he good enough? Making excuses about the ball being a colour it is. What? Come on. The recruitment as well recently has been really poor. I don't think that's been good enough in midfield. They brought in Declan Rice, but I don't think a few of the signings have been good enough. I think they needed another world-class number 8, and they needed a world-class striker in the summer, because without a striker, they just haven't scored enough goals. With Saka injured, I think they're going to struggle in this title race now with Liverpool. Yes, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I think, my non-biased opinion, I think they're going to struggle because of that lack of depth, strength and depth on the bench, especially in right wing. I don't think Martinelli on the left has been performing well enough. I think Trossard is very inconsistent. And I think a lot of the in-game tactics as well have been interesting. I think where you look, they rely heavily on set pieces, which is not a bad thing. Stoke FC, people like to joke about, but it's where you think, well, you need to score loads of goals open play. Yes, they have done, but I wouldn't say they've done enough. I don't think some of the draws they have had this season have been poor, and results recently have been poor. And you were thinking, well, City dropping lots of points this season, Liverpool new manager, maybe it could be Arsenal's year. But as we've seen, they've had silly red cards, which is not really their fault, but second yellows. They've dropped points when they shouldn't have. I don't know with Arteta. I don't know if he can make that next step at the club. And they rely heavily on their defence, and they've set up really well in defence. But I think from midfield forward, it's sometimes they don't look like they know what they're doing, and I don't know what. Yeah, so it's one of those where it's like they haven't capitalised on City this season being poor. They haven't capitalised on Liverpool's new manager, and Liverpool are running away with it. And people like Mark Goldbridge, a lot of people now are saying Liverpool will win the league, and I will have to start. I'm starting to agree, because I'm not seeing enough from Arsenal this season to say yes, they can win the title. I just haven't seen that. So where do you draw the line and say, well, Arteta hasn't done enough? And I'll go back to they've only won one major trophy. Community Shields don't count as a major trophy. I'm sorry, but they don't. Community Shield is irrelevant. Yes, it's a good trophy to win, and it's a good start to the season, but it's irrelevant in terms of talking about manager winning trophies, because that is insignificant. They've been knocked out of the Champions League. They've fallen short in the title race. They've been close, but they've fallen short. This is where you say where, and you can go to back to this where in the summer and say, was I right? I think I am right, but I genuinely don't see Arsenal lifting a Premier League trophy under Arteta, or a Champions League trophy. I don't see him having that winning ability in him. I think he's a very good manager, but I don't think he has that ability. And that's not a bad thing. Not every manager does. Only the top managers have done that. Jurgen Klopp, um, Pep Guardiola, for example, Carlo Ancelotti. You think back to great managers of the past. So it's one of those where, look, it's not a bad thing that you can't do that, but I don't think he has that ability. And Arsenal have spent a lot of money as well. It's not like they haven't spent money. They've spent just under. I think they're spent the second most in the league. I think in recent years. So you can't say that they haven't tried under him. And I think they stunned the world with the way they challenged for the title back in 22-23. They did. No one expected that. But again, fallen short time and time again. And Manchester City are a juggernaut usually, so that's not easy to beat them. But then you'd expect, though, this season them not being there, right, this could be Arsenal's year. No, it's not. Looking at the league table, 6 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool have game in hand. That goes to 9 points. You say, or is it 6 points? Let me have a look. So yeah, 6 points. Game in hand. That goes to 9 points. Liverpool have to lose 3 games in a row, and Arsenal have to win 3 games. That's a lot. That's such a big gap. So you can say, well, they're equal on points with Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest have been brilliant, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. For a team that's wanting to challenge for the Premier League, that is not good enough. They have had poor results, and I can't see, like, 2-0 loss. Last night, they were poor. Draw to Brighton, yes, you can say they were unlucky with the penalty, but at the end of the day, I think it was a penalty. I mean, they've drawn to Arsenal. They've drawn to Everton. They've drawn to Fulham. Drawn to Chelsea, and that was a tough game, and losing to Newcastle in November. They're not showing anyone who watches football that they are a team that can win a Premier League. It's almost like the mentality isn't there. And I don't know, and that's not a bad thing. I can't sit here and say that's a bad thing, because it isn't. It's not a bad thing. But they haven't made that step up. I don't think they will under Arteta, and we can sit here and say, well, who can come in and replace him? I don't think they can. There's not a lot of managers out there. But that doesn't mean that Arsenal can't go out and try. So I don't think he is a proven winner. Never has been a proven winner. So we're going to have to see. We will have to see, but I don't see anything that shows he can. But it will be Arsenal owners probably thinking about that as well. So we'll have to see, but I can't see what's going to happen where next season they can fully challenge, because they're going to have to dip in the market. They're going to try get Isak, they're going to try get Osimhen, but can they? Who knows? And maybe I'll be proven wrong if they get a striker, because if they get a striker, they can be clinical. But relying on set pieces to score you goals each game and get you results is not going to work long term, and we've seen that. It doesn't work long term. It doesn't get you enough points. It doesn't. And that draw to Brighton is an example of that, complete example of that. They're very physical in defence, but cost them a penalty. You have to be world-class all round the pitch. You have to have a world-class attacker. You have to have a world-class midfielder. You have to have a world-class defender. You have to have a world-class keeper. They have a very good keeper. They have a world-class defence. And 2 world-class midfielders. But they don't have a world-class attacker yet. Saka, bordering that, but he's not providing the numbers exactly to say, yes, world-class, because Mo Salah level is world-class. Kevin De Bruyne level is world-class. Erling Haaland, world-class levels. Those numbers are what win you titles. And Arsenal just don't have that right now. So, drop your thoughts in the comments. People will disagree with me, I'm sure of that. But that's why I've decided to make this channel, because I want to hear people's opinions. I want to hear people's views on these things. So, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.